Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Happy League New Year. Happy League New Year. Happy League New Year. Is Alex Mattison worth getting the flag? You've got the flag.
You guys tell me.
Alex Mattison.
It's blowing in the wind right now. You
He's
tell me
back.
if it should be waved. You tell me if it should be
back.
waved. It's up to you. It's up to the cabinet. It's up to all those fine people. There it is.
It's a 2-year deal for $7 million. $3.5 million average annual value. We're going to discuss what does it mean. It's interesting. Alex Mattison, career low in carries last year, had a chance to go and test the free agency market. Maybe he did. I don't know. Seems like a hefty price for a backup running back, though, when you got Ty Chandler coming in. What could it mean?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We got a random Viking of the week here after a week hiatus last week. This is Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Thank you for helping this show multiple times in 2022 chart as a top 10 national football podcast on the Apple charts. The show is presented by our friends at TCL, now an official partner of the NFL. No matter what you watch, TCL has award-winning TVs for any budget. In fact, I got to turn my TCL TV on here in the old office.
Hoops.
Well, some hoops starting here
got
during
some
the
hoops.
show. Yep. TCL has award-winning TVs for any budget, any space, all with stunning picture quality. And TCL makes more than just TVs. They offer mobile products, audio devices, home appliances. TCL brings you joy and simplicity through innovative technology. And they even have a Netflix button on the remote. Look at that. A Hulu button.
This is nice.
You can just hit Netflix and watch watch that. There's a new the Malaysia flight that just disappeared. There's like a 3-part docuseries that old Macadac and his wife
really?
dive into.
Oh, I got to watch that. Mm-hmm. I got to watch that.
So, okay. Alex Mattison. He's back. 2 years, $7 million. What does this mean? And maybe by the time we get done blabbing about this, maybe this is where we're at with these recordings. It's like there could be Dalvin Cook news 5 minutes into this episode.
Why are you guys talking about something that happened? It's over. This indicates to me a few things. One is, to go back through what appears to be the timeline, I think the Vikings have been actively and aggressively trying to trade Dalvin Cook. I also think that the offers, as we've discussed, are probably 6th or 7th round picks. The Vikings balked at that. They wanted Mattison back, but to your point, Phil, I don't think there's any way he was going to return on a 2-year contract and be told, hey, you know what you just got done doing, playing largely a backup role? Well, we're going with that. Then in the meantime, yesterday, before the Mattison signing was announced, Zeke Elliott was just flat out released by Dallas.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get a thing for him. So it's my professional opinion that the running back market yesterday was really, really set. I think the Vikings are going to aggressively try and trade Cook for a late round pick, not release him just because they get more cap relief if he's traded actually right now, pre-June 1st, than if he's released, I should say. So I think this means that going into training camp, your running back depth chart will be Mattison, Ty Chandler, perhaps a Slappy. Dalvin Cook will be elsewhere. And you know what? As far as what the Vikings are doing, it fits in perfectly.
Yeah, we did a scoop session. If you're looking for some of the latest on Harrison Smith, there's a scoop session on Mackey and Judd with Doogie you can find. And one of the things we talked about is if you start to look at the big picture of the last 10 days, what have the Vikings been doing? They've been swapping out players who are 29 or older for players that are 26 and younger. That's really the crux of what they're doing here. So Eric Kendricks, Adam Thielen, Patrick Peterson, all over the age of 30. Dalvin Tomlinson, 29. They wanted him back, but they were also like, he's 29. We're not gonna give him $27.5 million guaranteed. He's a good player, not a great player. So they say goodbye to all those guys, 29 and over. They're probably going to say goodbye to Zadarius, who's in his 30s. Harrison, it sounds like, according to Dukes, they'd love to have him back as like one of the lone veteran, 30-year-olds, 34-year-olds. But it's just about the price point.
Right.
So, but they're saying goodbye to all those guys, and they're bringing in 25-year-old Josh Oliver, 26-year-old Marcus Davenport, 25-year-old Byron Murphy. They're bringing back 26-year-old Garrett Bradbury, 25-year-old Alex Mattison. If you swapped out a 28-year-old Dalvin Cook for a 25-year-old Alex Mattison for your starting spot, and then put a 22-year-old, 23, I guess, year old Ty Chandler in, that would seem to fit with the entire story of the last 2 weeks in personnel moves.
And what this does too is all of these contracts, for the most part, are 2 and 3 year contracts. So you're not like tying yourself up for 5 years. There's no problem here. You're not going to be on the hook for extended periods of dead salary cap, if that sounds familiar now, because there's no doubt that's what Kwesi and Brzezinski are probably trying to clear up as well. So I think that, yes, I think it makes perfect sense. Bringing Harrison Smith back at a reduced salary makes a lot of sense because he's the one guy that I think could actually help them still.
Agreed.
You know, as far as Cook goes, it's been a nice run, but he's getting right by that cliff. If I'm not mistaken, I think he averaged something like 4.3 or 4.4 yards per carry in 2022. That was a career low. So like all of these moves make a lot of sense as far as the structure goes. I love the contract terms. I love the fact that they're not going with contracts that are going to in 4 years the player's still signed, but the production is down, so you got to cut him and take the cap hit. This really does seem to be a behind the scenes cleaning up. Like this really feels like in addition to trying to remain competitive, and guess what too? This is preparing for Wave 2. And Wave 2 is Justin Jefferson's extension, TJ Hawkinson, Danielle Hunter. Something has to be done there. So, like, there's a long play here. The only thing I don't love is so much of Kirk's cap being pushed into 24. But besides that, this has really been a Saturday afternoon in the spring sweep in the garage.
Yeah. And you know, as Dalvin is potentially being swept out, we'll see. If they were to cut him pre-June 1st cut, it would save the Vikings $6 million to the 2023 cap, but they'd be eating 8.2 in dead cap. They're already eating like 25 or 30 million in dead cap between Thielen and some other guys. So they just seem very willing, except, you know, with the Kirk thing, they decided, all right, let's take a chunk of this, put it into next year. But I'm sure there's a grand plan for how much they want dead cap eaten up this year versus next year. Trading Dalvin actually flips that. If you could even just get a 6th or a 7th round pick for him, you would save about $8 million in cap space. You'd only eat about $6 million. But you kind of brought this up too. The running back market is moving fast. There's a musical chairs game happening here. And some of the teams we were looking at a few weeks ago, of like who might be interested in Dalvin? Well, the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins don't have any running backs under contract. They're all free agents. Well, they brought back Raheem Mostert. They brought back Jeff Wilson. So they're probably out. Could the Bills still be interested? I don't know. Doogie floated the Jaguars as an option, but now that Falcons is an option.
Floated the Falcons as well, yep.
There's a few remaining solid sort of platoon running backs in free agency, but now Zeke Elliott is available.
Right.
Austin Eckler is available via trade, and he's a younger, maybe even better version of Dalvin Cook at this point. So, yeah, I think it's a pipe dream if they're looking to get they're not going to get a 1st round pick. They might not even get a day 2 pick, but if they could get like a 6th round pick, be done with the contract beyond eating some dead cap in 2023, get cheaper. That's the other thing. Kwesi is trying to reset positional spending here. Yeah. Okay, linebackers, we're no longer going to be paying Eric Kendricks type money. They paid like $20+ million to linebackers last year. He's saying Kendrick's gone, Jordan Hicks pay cut, Asamoah in as a starter, less money on linebackers. They're trying to spend less money on safeties. Harrison, if you want to stick around, we'd love to have you. It's got to be for less, and we're going to strip away the rest of your contract after 2023 probably, right? I would be shocked if they gave Alex Mattison a raise only for him to still be an expensive backup running back to an expensive starter, right? It doesn't make sense with what they're doing.
Well, and you know, if you look at the 2-year contract that Mattison got, first of all, I think a good portion of it is guaranteed. But the second thing is, as a starting running back's contract, it's a good deal. So, like, that's the thing is, you know, in his prime, Adrian Peterson deserved what he got. But the Vikings sort of, at that point in time, it feels like, into Dalvin Cook, have never really corrected that. Like, the position has changed. The priorities have changed there. But, you know, and Dalvin certainly is not breaking the bank like Peterson was right before he got let go, Phil. But he is still being paid a lot. to me, what they did with Mattison is if he is your bell cow or he is your starting back with Ty Chandler next year, all of a sudden the salary slots make a lot of sense. Like
Yes.
I don't object one bit there. And that's a great point. Like the Vikings,
Thank you.
the way Kwesi works, you're welcome. The way that Kwesi and this front office now are going to work, there was a lot of correction to be done on position. So forget the players. Like that's the big thing. Again, I'll go back to it, and I don't know if this is a Spielman thing or what, but the game evolved, and the Vikings didn't really evolve in how they paid certain positions.
No, it was amazing. Think about how often the last 15 years the Vikings have had one of the highest paid running backs, one of the highest paid safeties, one of the highest paid linebackers, Greenway into Kendricks, and those are good players, but those are technically non-premium positions in today's NFL, and it makes it harder when you have a non-elite quarterback making. Kirk has had and I know people who watch this show and listen, they're aware of this conversation, but Kirk has had a top 3 cap hit in 3 of the last 4 years. Now his cap hit this year this is going to be about the lowest he's ranked since he signed.
yes.
Of course, they're shoving they're almost $30 million into next year.
Yes.
But when you have a non-elite quarterback making top 3 cap hit money, when you have non-elite or non-premium positions that are highly paid, linebacker, safety, running back, it makes it way, way harder to have great players in the most important spots, right? To have the great left tackle, right tackle, 2 edge rushers. They actually think about like all those constraints, and they still had 2 relatively amazing edge rushers and 2 of the best tackles on offense and maybe the best wide receiver. So the roster construction, this is why we can nitpick here and there for years and years, but this is why the Vikings, the old front office, the new front office, they're always competitive because they're always, even when they're making some mistakes in positional spending or overpaying for a quarterback here or there, or whiffing on some draft picks even, like they still find a way to put competency on the football field.
The thing that they did too that I think is so instructive. So like I think the big controversy or conversation is the cap fake or not? And we on the show have said for a long time it's not fake. It will come to bite you eventually. But just to have an idea, to backtrack on, because I saw some tweets, Phil, to you about what percentage of the cap for 2023 Kirk is going to take, and now it proves that Kirk can win a Super Bowl because his cap hit is down.
Yeah, well, the roster's in transition now. So
well, but just to put it into perspective, what that cap hit meant at 36 before it was reduced a couple days ago by $16 million. The Vikings went into 3:00 on Wednesday. They signed a couple of their own guys. More importantly, they signed 3 guys from the outside. Okay, they were cap compliant, and they didn't have to cut Harrison Smith yet.
Yep.
Za'Darius, Dalvin, Kirk's contract. So when you take $16 million, which in sports terms probably sounds like a pittance, but it's not, against the salary cap, the Vikings were able to get cap compliant with that one move. So like when you're like, well, Kirk's contract's not that bad. Okay, you're shoving it around. I get that. And that's why fans will say it's fake. But the reality is, if you look at what the Vikings did by 3:00 on Wednesday, they were able to do almost all of that with one move on one guy's contract. Mm-hmm. Like that shows the power of the cap and how you can't say it's fake because you got that down by 16 and now you can make all those moves.
Yep. But because of how much he played hardball for years and years and because of just how bloated the contracts were, yes, awesome. They took a huge chunk out of this year's and now he's no longer going to have the 3rd highest cap hit in the NFL. But when he's potentially gone next season, he's going to be the highest paid player to your cap in 2024. Because no matter what, you got to put that money somewhere. So here's another question for you guys before we get into some other stuff here. How good is Alex Mattison? I think we've all he's always just been like the mini-me to Dalvin Cook, right? And how many play-by-play guys on Fox and CBS get them confused because they both have dreadlocks and a single-digit number, and like they both, from a distance, kind of look like the same in a football helmet and pads. Like he's been the mini-me to Dalvin Cook. You can just kind of plug Alex Mattison in, and you don't really miss a beat, right? Well, he's only averaged 3.7 yards a carry the last couple seasons. Just something to consider. That's not very good. Out of 62 qualified running backs. He's one of the lowest graded receiver running backs in the NFL, like bottom 5 last year receiving grade, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, I will say out of those 62 qualified running backs, Mattison graded 40th, which is not very good, but he was ahead of Dalvin, who graded 47th.
Yeah, which surprised me.
But volume of usage, like the back of the football card stats, he still puts up the 1,200, whatever it was, yards, still gets some touchdowns because you're still pounding it to him.
Right.
But overall, the running game was not great. Some of it was offensive line. Some of it was Dalvin just not being as good as he was 3 or 4 years ago. So I guess I will say my only hesitation here is of all the options of sort of like platoon caliber running backs and even having Ty Chandler on your roster, I don't know that Mattison is as good as some people assume he is. But maybe if he was given, all right, here's your role, you're going to be the guy. You're going to split with Ty Chandler, but this is going to be your job. You know, maybe the best version of him comes out. And the good news too is if he's not that good, he's still making only $3.5 million. He's not making $14 million.
And it's 2 years.
Yes.
And it's 2 years. So I think the question on this position now, though, is less about are you good, and it's are you able to do certain things to a standpoint that is acceptable. One, pass protection. Can you pass protect? Because that's huge now. Like, that's the thing that did not used to be. It was always sort of important. Now it's super important because the amount of passing the teams like the Vikings are going to do. I also think that this gives him the perfect opportunity to prove himself. Hopefully the line improves as well. But, you know, Ty Chandler's important here too. That's the other thing. I don't want to see, I mean, this whole bell cow thing, this is our guy. With running backs, it's not necessary. It's absolutely not necessary. If you got 2, use 2. If you got 3, use 2.5. So, you know, unlike certain positions where it's like, this guy is a downgrade. I think in this case, they're fine. And there is no avoiding the cliff that Dalvin is going for right now. Like, the one thing that Mattison has going for him, and ordinarily I sort of scoff at this, but in this case I don't, is, you know, his usage since being drafted has been limited. So he's going to have a couple of years of decent gas in the tank.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the Chester Taylor a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. You know, when you look at Cook, he is going for that cliff, and there's no avoiding it. I mean, guys think like Peterson, I'm going to play forever. It's like, no, you're not.
Is he going to announce his retirement, or is he going to announce USFL?
I'm hoping XFL or
XFL will be
USFL.
over.
That's true. I'm hoping USFL because I believe then I get a point and write that down. If I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, actually, I think you said XFL and write that down.
Oh, did I? I might have.
That would be, dude. That would be a terrible beat if
actually
he
no.
wound
You
up
know
with
what?
the other
that was a
league.
long time ago. I'm fine with it. I've accepted my fate there. But anyway, I don't think the Mattison thing has to be a conversation about is he's not as good as Dalvin was in his prime. That's a position I would prefer to have a guy that can pass protect, a guy that can do his job, doesn't have to be great, and just as importantly, a guy who comfortably fits in financially.
And to your point about not as good as Dalvin in his prime, if you look at the list of Super Bowl winning teams the last like 10, 12, 15 years, most of them have running backs that are not as good as Dalvin Cook in his prime. But they make less money, they do their job, they pass protect, they can get out and catch a pass on third down or whatever next.
And then they get cut.
They're serviceable. I think the only thing I don't like is the fact you're paying now 2 running backs a large portion of money, which is the thing that I am a little baffled by. I think Alexander Mattison can be a starting back for sure, but you're now paying Dalvin Cook, you're paying Alexander Mattison. I think the spending wise doesn't make sense. By the way, I gotta go.
I
gotta go.
Oh no.
I gotta go. I was just gonna pop off, but I didn't want people to panic. And I kind of like the running bit that I have of this now.
Okay.
So I feel like
is
it's
this
now
like what? I don't want to keep you any longer than the emergency here, but is this something you ate last night or what?
It's I think we were talking off mic about the medicine, how much Declan here for NyQuil versus Mucinex. That medicine just goes right through.
Also, do you have drainage? Because drainage, that post nasal drip.
Yes,
that'll turn your stomach. Yeah.
On top of the
That's
espresso that I had today, it's weird. It's like my body is like, "What are you doing to me, dude?" So,
all right, okay.
This
I
might
want
be
to be at
this
full
could also be the
strength.
bug that I had. I've had
Yeah.
like a 2-day bug here, and it's
I wanna be at-
appetizer madness at Hubbard Radio, and
Yes.
I am sad to miss on Ross's like Jello Snickers.
There's App
appetizer.
Madness. We got Random Viking of the Week. I can't be, at white knuckling my way through the last 15 minutes.
Oh,
of Purple
I
Daily, so-
urge you to stay then and do exactly that.
Just to suffer. All right.
No, so I can probably win very easily then.
We'll
All
save
right.
we'll save the random Viking of the week.
All right. So what? Where were we again? Oh, but I think Cook's gone. To Dex's point, like I don't think they're going to pay both of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess like, and I would ask him to clarify here, but even if Cook is gone, they're still going to be devoting $6 or $8 million in dead cap to Cook this season. So they'd still be paying their running backs like $11 million or whatever.
Yeah.
So even if Cook is not here,
But they'll get some savings. I don't have a problem with this strategy. I mean, some of this, Phil, some of this is going to be painful financially. I mean,
yes.
Thielen's salary cap
make
hit
it painful.
is yes, which is why the Kirk thing sort of bugs me a little bit because I'm all for all of the pain washing over me in 2023.
Yeah. Just rip
Just
it off.
Rip it all off.
And then
Get it
there's
done.
there's the how good is Ty Chandler discussion, which we don't really know. All we can kind of we saw him, I don't know, 10 carries in the preseason or whatever, and he was kind of injured.
Let's find out.
We've barely seen him, but he did run a 4.38 40 at the combine a year ago. A 4.38 40.
Mm-hmm.
He ran for 1,000 yards at 6 yards per carry his last year at North Carolina. So there's some potential there, and I'd love to see. To me, this is another just reason why you go with Mattison and Chandler. What's the point of drafting Chandler if you're going to re-sign Mattison to be an expensive backup to Dalvin Cook, who you're going to keep, right?
That would make no sense.
Unless you've seen enough of Chandler in practice behind the scenes to he's a train wreck and we can't put him in there. Which he's a running back. All you have to do is pick up blitzes, catch the ball once in a while, and follow your keys on the run plays. Okay?
2023, it's imperative that you find out about your 2022 draft class.
Yes.
I'm not done with this draft class yet. Like, I know they didn't
we don't even know
contribute.
anything about them.
They should have done. I would have liked to seen guys get a bit more playing time, but I'm not done with this yet. And I think that one thing that you need to be dedicated to absolutely is playing these guys. Hopefully they don't get hurt again.
Yeah.
But I think, unless that entire draft class just stunk, which is entirely possible, but let's say it doesn't, I would have really liked to seen guys get more playing time last season. And with what you're doing now, it makes no sense not to play them now.
I have a list, by the way. I've just been trying to keep tabs here based on the move so far. Your current offensive and defensive starters, if the season were to start right now. Let's go through these and just kind of get a gauge on. This is not complete by any means because they still have room to sign. They're obviously they have a first round draft pick. They might get more draft capital, but as of right now,
Sure.
Your current offensive starters are Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne. I'm going to say Alex Mattison is your starting running back right now.
I agree.
I think that move yesterday, as we talked about. So we'll say Alex Mattison / Ty Chandler / Kene Nwangwu, kind of. If you run 12 personnel, your tight ends would be TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, one of the best run blocking tight ends in the league. And then the same offensive line as of right now: Darisaw, Cleveland, Bradbury, Ingram, O'Neal. That's your offense right now.
And I think that the only place that I would say that I think there's going to be a replacement at right now, probably Osborne comes out, somebody else goes in. But all of that being said, I am pretty damn comfortable with that. Like, if that's your offense, I'm pretty comfortable right now. And I think it'll be much improved as far as consistency of scoring goes. But there's nothing about that where I'm like, oh, that's a real weak spot. Assuming Bradbury can play like Bradbury did from, besides being hurt, because that was a weak spot previously. I think your tackles are good. Ingram should take a step. That's a problem if he does not. But do you look at that and say, oh boy, I say, you know what? I see improvement possible too.
I need my second round right guard to take a huge step forward or have a backup that can step right in after the first month. I'm not going to do that dance again for a full season. And I need a better number 2 than KJ. KJ Osborne is a really good number 3 wide receiver. I think people get a little too, excited about, then he can be a number 2. Sometimes you're just meant to be a good number 3 wide receiver. What about Jarius Wright? What if no, he's a number 3 wide receiver. KJ Osborne's a number 3 wide receiver.
I think the number 2 receiver is TBD. Besides that, I think the entire list that you just went through is probably as set as it can possibly be. There could be replacements, but I don't think there's anywhere else that the Vikings are itching for more starting caliber. Depth, yes, not starting caliber.
Current defensive starters as of right now, and I've got 12 of them because I'll get you like 3 cornerbacks when they're playing nickel, and we'll get you 2 linebackers in base. So the 3 defensive linemen, the down linemen, tell me if I'm wrong on this. As of right now, I think it's Harrison Phillips, it's Tonga, and it's Wanham. I think. And then your edges / OLBs would be Daniil Hunter, Marcus Davenport. And then your inside linebackers are Jordan Hicks, Brian Asamoah. Cornerbacks are Byron Murphy, Andrew Booth Jr., and Caleb Evans. Yeah, and your safeties are Harrison Smith, Lewis Seen, as of right now.
A lot more uncertain there, right? First of all, Harrison Phillips, definitely. I think one of those 2 who right now you have replacing Tomlinson probably is replaced by either a signing or a draft pick.
Yeah.
Likely. Not for sure, but likely. The cornerbacks, that is a great point. Because it's Murphy, but I don't know if he's going to play inside or outside. And keep in mind, the inside's incredibly important. So you can't just be like, that's the inside slot. No, that's a tough place. I think Andrew Booth Jr., provided he's healthy, and my God, I hope he is finally, is going to get a chance. Caleb Evans scares me because he had 3 concussions. Mm-hmm. So what's the health there? So you've got to add depth, potentially at least a comfortable starting caliber depth there. And the safeties, if Harrison Smith comes back, I'm assuming Seen gets a chance, but I'm not absolutely positive. So I think offensively, I think the number 2 receiver is not here yet. Other than that, I think they're probably pretty set.
I kind of like this, man.
Defensively, I think there's room for change.
It's definitely not a Super Bowl roster on paper right now, but I kind of love what they're doing here, especially if you were to sign a DJ Chark or draft one of these receivers, a Zay Flowers or somebody in the first round, and then it would be nice, and this is the price you pay for whiffing on draft picks and then having to trade draft picks for guys like Hawkinson. If they had a second round pick, I think you'd feel a lot better about, okay, you get one more free agent signing here, and then you draft a defensive tackle in the first round, and then you find this in the second round. But then again, on the defensive side, it can't get a lot worse than it was last year. So right. just getting younger and getting better schematically with Brian Flores is going to make up for some of these sort of, we don't know. Brian Asamoah has never really played at a starter level before.
Yeah, but that's the chance that you need to take. He could be really good. At least find out, right?
Yeah.
Lewis Seen, at least find out. If he stinks, that's your fault, and you'll get ripped. But at least find out on guys. That was what was so frustrating to me last year, is these lifetime tickets to just continue to start. It's you don't get that. This is pro sports. So let's find out. And with the group of young players now, this is the plan. This is the plan, for better or for worse, that I think we all wanted to see, which is turn over the roster, bring in young, faster talent, and find out. Because some of them you're going to hit on, and the sooner that you find out who can play and who can't, the better.
Yes. Hey, we're gonna debut something new here today. Something that we partially debuted it at the end of 2022, but we want to pay homage to those of you in the Purple Daily Leadership Cabinet. Today, we honor our first ever Purple Daily Leadership Cabinet Employee of the Week, Eric, the CEO of the Dalvin Cook fan club. I believe it's pronounced Eric Dolhan. He is the official CEO of the Dalvin Cook fan club. He's been a Vikings fan since 2017, which basically aligns with Dalvin's career. In fact, I feel like we had Eric on one time on Write That Down, and I think he's a Florida guy.
Yes.
And so he
Sounds
became a
right.
Vikings fan through Dalvin Cook, who played at Florida State. The first time the Vikings ever ripped his heart out was the 2017 NFC Championship game versus the Eagles. I'm a lifelong Floridian with over 20 years of management, sales, and legal experience working for large companies. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts and a Master of Business Administration, and he's a huge Dalvin Cook fan. So congratulations. Nice work to Eric, the CEO of the Dalvin Cook Fan Club. Great work in our Purple Daily Leadership Cabinet. If you want to submit your resume to be part of the Purple Daily Leadership Cabinet, you can go to scorenorth.com/cabinet. That's SKOR North.com/cabinet. You can send in your resume, and we will potentially approve you as one of the leaders here of Purple Daily.
And think about all the opportunities now to be the official person of a new player. Byron Murphy fan club. Who's going to head that, right? Huh?
I think
Brian Asamoah fan club, Alexander Mattison fan club.
I think you're onto something here. I think actually the Josh Oliver fan club. If you just like meat and potatoes,
blocking,
trenches, tight ends, the Josh Oliver fan club.
Absolutely. By the way, put that back up if you could for a second, Dex. The Norseman is really pissed off. Like, look at that. Our guy is like, that guy is really mad at life. Look at that.
Yeah, he's mad because the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. He's like,
but I mean, I like it because he doesn't look happy. He doesn't look satisfied. He looks really like he's going to jump through the screen.
It was one of many available graphics, I'm sure, through our
Viking.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I like it. I approve.
We do have a premium subscription on our graphics site too, so we can. The Score North graphics department is more on point than you give us credit for.
I didn't realize that.
It's like $15 a month. It's premium.
Yes. Worth it.
Does the company approve of this, or are they? I'm
pretty sure I'm just paying for this. They would approve of it, but I'm.
Oh, you're paying out of pocket?
Sometimes I'm lazy with expenses like that, where it's like, all right.
Well, also, in the event of our untimely departure, we get to keep it because you're paying for it. You know what I mean?
But you could just, right? But if the company was paying for it, you could just resubscribe with your own email address after.
Well, I'm just saying. But if you lose some of that,
let's let Declan think he's outsmarting the system here.
Well, just Judd.
You know what?
What's Judd gonna do with this cell phone if he gets laid off? He has to get his own cell phone.
You know what's funny, Dex? Untimely departure to you means something totally different than it does to me.
That's true.
You're talking about death.
I'm talking about cremation. Which, by the way, if you would like to sponsor us for a cremation society thing, Judd Zolgad would be glad to endorse you.
We do have over right now, again, at scorenorth.com. Actually, if you open the Score North app, it's our annual Score North Pick Your Prize contest. So we have, I believe it's 10 different $10,000 value prize packs. You can enter once per day through March 30th. Again, open the Score North app, go to Listener Rewards. If you don't get prompted with a pop-up, you can go to Listener Rewards, and you can enter the Score North Pick Your Prize contest. This is gonna be good for Judd. One of these, so someone's gonna win at the end of the month here. There's a $10,000 gift card to Cub Foods, which sounds very appealing to me. You mean I can just $10,000 in?
Oh, are you kidding?
$10,000 Minnesota shower and bath remodel gift card available. There's $10,000 value for a LASIK procedure and a Delta Vacations gift card. You get that LASIK instead of wearing contacts and 4 pairs of glasses. Patio Town, all sorts of great. So check it out. The Score North app. It's the Pick Your Prize contest, and someone's going to win a $10,000 prize pack of their choosing. And a shout out as well to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Judd has 2 pairs of glasses.
I was putting more pairs of glasses on to see if it
it's not
actually it's too strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Way
do that.
too strong. Now
You
I'm
just
in
did
trouble.
permanent damage there.
Yeah,
actually.
my late mom is going to be very upset that I clowned around and did that.
Federated's been around for over 100 years, helping business owners navigate the sometimes choppy waters of running a business, sometimes smooth waters, but it's great to have that guiding hand looking out on the horizon, like a great offensive line protecting you, the quarterback of your business. Federatedinsurance.com to find a full list of industries they specialize in. And at Federated, remember, it's our business to protect yours. Okay, boys, let's talk real quick before we get to the random Viking of the week. I was glued to the Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee thing yesterday. And by the way, Pat McAfee helped me to pave the way, along with Score North, for entertaining sports YouTube content. They had 500,000 concurrent viewers at the peak of that Aaron Rodgers Ramble Fest yesterday. 500,000 people watching.
Good for McAfee, man. More power to him.
Here's my question for you guys. There's a million things off of this. Like Aaron is just, he's a narcissistic sociopath was my biggest takeaway. But has anyone ever frontally gone after top sports media insiders? Has anyone gone after Woj publicly the way that Aaron went after, by name, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, and poor Diana Rossini?
Well,
that was incredible.
Well, in different eras, in different ways before social media existed, yes. In the way that he did, probably not. A-Rod, when he was lying, I know, I'm shocked by that, about his steroid use, went after the media, but I don't remember him naming names.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Now back in the day, in the 70s, Dave Kingman once sent a dead rat in a shoebox to a female baseball reporter because he didn't think that she belonged. And so, there have been things where we've definitely had confrontations. But as far as what Rodgers did through social media or through YouTube, I can't think of one.
But this was like an ultimate pulling back of the curtain and breaking the fourth wall, and that Adam Schefter has become this figurehead the last decade he is the single biggest breaking news NFL guy. The biggest league in the world. It's a $15 billion entity, and he is at the center of it with 16 different phones connected to everything, right? And you just kind of assume that, and you don't really know how he does it. I mean, he's obviously, when you have as much information as he has, he's just as valuable to some of the people that he talks to. That's like when you get on Adam Schefter's level, you're helping the Eagles by giving them information about 10 other teams as much as the Eagles are helping you. So you just assume he's now part of the information ecosystem. He's the first guy that people call and talk to. And you assume that he's probably got great relationships with most of the top players because he never criticizes. He's very careful. But we used to have him as a daily guest on Royce and Mackey 12 years ago. And you'd ask him his opinion on things. He'd never give you an opinion because he never wanted someone's agent or a player to come back and say, you said that about my guy.
Are his currency. Yep.
He's in the information exchange industry. Agents.
But Rodgers is, so I think Aaron is very, very upset at sort of the world of football, right? And
or just the world in general.
Just the
he's
world.
Alienated and burned bridges with everyone in his life.
Absolutely. And so he knows that Schefter gets his information from the league, agents, people that are plugged in. It's no mistake that ESPN pays billions of dollars to show games, and then a guy who works for them happens to get a ton of scoops in exchange for not saying how he feels. Mm-hmm. So I think Aaron, when he pulls these stunts, is taking his anger out on Schefter and Rossini, but he's mad at ESPN. He's mad at Fox. He's mad at the fact he can't, to your point, Phil, control things, right?
Which is so. Think about how, dude, you're a 40-year-old man. How exhausting would that? Could you imagine? You wonder why he doesn't have kids or a long-term relationship, and all. Not to get super personal on him, but it's like, dude, you're literally losing sleep over what Adam Schefter and Diana Rossini's report was accurate. And now maybe she characterized it as a wish list, and I think that's what offended Aaron.
No, she said demands, and he
did
said.
Did she say demand? I don't think she said demand. Did she?
They reported it as he basically gave them a list of demands, and he said, "Did I talk about teammates?" But yeah, you're right.
It's semantics, though.
He
wants the Jets to sign Alan Lazard.
Yeah,
which is fine. Which no one would disagree with.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But he takes it unnecessarily personally, and then you wonder, why did his teams only win one Super Bowl in 15 years? Because half of his teammates probably hated him. And can you imagine what not that the Packers have handled this perfectly, but can you imagine being in the Packers front office while you sit there and listen to this complete BS narrative
how about
I went into the darkness, I was going to retire 90%, then I came out of the darkness and something changed.
You know what?
Come on, guy.
It's like he made a commitment to himself, or there's a bet that he's got where he said years ago, not only am I going to, in my mind, be better than Brett Favre, but I'm going to top him, antics wise.
Then he's got one last thing that he needs to do.
I know. That's what I actually gave that some thought. As stupid as that sounds, and I do believe
one last place
and I do believe the team that he would have that last step with would say no, thank you. But think about it for a second.
It aligns with the contract.
Did you know? I mean, I took it very. I thought it was very interesting that Aaron Rodgers basically said, I am arguably the best player in Packer franchise history, and I'm definitely the longest term. Like, it was almost like he's proving something to Brett. Like, I'm a bigger badass than you were. It's a weird, dude, how weird is this that everything is unfolding with him pulling the same bleep?
It is, man. It's super weird.
And I agree with you. He's a narcissist, strikes me as a bad guy, but it is like when he says, I am arguably the best player in franchise history. It's like, okay, dude, what are you trying to prove?
Who's questioning that? That's like, who when he says that?
Brett Favre is, sure.
Who's his audience
That's what
when
I'm
he
saying.
says that?
I think it's Favre. I think he's questioning. I think that because Favre's smarter at playing the Osh Shucks game, but Favre is equally as manipulative as I think Favre comes off as a better guy. I think it's debatable or I think he might not be. Certainly with some of the things that have come to light, right? But when he's saying that to me, that is saying it directly to Brett Favre.
You guys ever seen those Amityville movies from the 70s and 80s? Those scary haunted house movies? Yeah. The Amityville Horror?
Yeah.
And there's like 8 of them. And the original premise, and it's centered around a true story, apparently, that some father like murdered his whole family and the house became haunted, and everyone that moves into the house, you come in and your family's all happy and you're normal and great. And by the end, you're crazy. You're a psychopath, or like The Shining or something, where at the end of your stay in this deserted hotel, you're crazy. I feel like that's what Green Bay is for quarterbacks. Brett Favre comes in, fresh faced, all happy, and by the end, he's like, I gotta get out of here.
It's the ghost of Packer. It's the ghost of Curly Lambeau. I love that.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers was a fairly, I don't know. I'd have to go back and remember like 2006, 7, 8, but like fresh faced and, like super laid back, cool dude, right?
Jason said he was the greatest guy.
And now he's just mad at everything, and he's got to take. And McAfee, if you just said to McAfee, hey, off the record, what do you think of this guy? I think he would, over a couple cocktails, I think McAfee would say he's a lunatic. But look at our show. He's single-handedly getting us millions more dollars from our next FanDuel, partnership.
Dare I say that he is to McAfee as Trump was to Fox?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
I mean,
let's ride it. Let's ride it.
Ride it out.
Yep.
Like if we got, if Kirk Cousins decided to come on this, on PD, and said, you know what, I'm going to come on once a week, and I'm going to air it out. We should
get him out. We've never.
And I'm going to air it out.
We've never really.
Would we say we think you're a fraud, or would we say coming up tomorrow you're going to want to make sure to hear Kirk Cousins?
We would do the latter because
I know we would because we're human.
Oh man! All right, it's time now for a random Viking of the week here on Purple Daily. We apologize for missing last week. Schedules and breaking news.
It was my fault. We could have done it, and I ixnayed it.
Oh yeah, you weren't in the headspace to do it.
I took some heat. I've taken some heat since then.
I'm not in the headspace to do it.
I'd like to apologize. I made a mistake.
So all-time, Judd has a 46-28 lead on Declan and myself. We alternate every other week going against Judd. It's my turn to throw out clues this week, so it'll be Declan versus Judd. I'll give you a series of clues. You can shout out answers anytime you want. You get up to 3 incorrect guesses. You can ask me questions I can refuse to answer if I want to. All right, some previous recent random Vikings: Dwayne Rudd, Christian Ponder, Thomas DePay, Herschel Walker, Chad Beebe, and Robert Griffith. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
This random Viking of the week hails originally from Sacramento, California.
Sacktown. Clones.
This random Viking of the week, his senior year in high school, he rushed for 3,125 yards, 53 touchdowns, and had 7 additional receiving touchdowns.
Wow.
60 touchdowns his senior year of high school. And on defense that same year, he had 74 tackles as a two-way player.
All right. I got a feeling this guy did not end up as a running back.
Well, because I'm being too obvious if I were to give you that clue right away.
Yep.
We'll see. This random Viking of the week also established career marks in high school with 6,178 yards rushing and 99 rushing touchdowns. So that was his whole career.
I don't have the list in front of me. And I don't think we've done this guy, so I am going to take
I swear to God.
an early guess.
Whoa, okay.
Because I think this guy was from California. I don't know if it was from Sacktown. Toby Gerhardt.
We've done Toby Gerhardt, I think.
I believe we have done Toby Gerhardt.
Yeah,
Declan got it correct.
I got the list, and then I lost it.
So we did do Toby. Judd, you're down one guess here.
I'm flying by the seat of my pants right now.
This random Viking of the week, his son actually recently received college football scholarship offers from BYU, Oregon State, and Utah.
Okay.
But decided to commit to Sacramento State instead. I don't know why. I don't know why you would go to Sacramento. I mean, I guess I kind of know why. You know, Sacramento, it's home, family, right? But you can go play at Utah. I don't know. Interesting decision. This random Viking of the week was a 4th-round pick in the National Football League. .5'10", 214 pounds listed weight. After his NFL career finished up, this random Viking of the week tried his hand in the Canadian Football League as well. Unfortunately, when reporting to Winnipeg to play for the Blue Bombers, he was supposed to report to Winnipeg Blue Bombers training camp. He shot up 20 pounds over his NFL playing weight and then suffered a foot injury on the first day of practice. Heck of a way to introduce yourself to your CFL friends. He had one NFL coach, Mike Tice. He actually had a 2-week stretch in the NFL where he logged 341 yards from scrimmage and 3
Mo
touchdowns.
Williams.
I was just gonna guess that, but then that last clue I stopped because I'm like, so wait, can you please read? Can you repeat the last clue?
Yes. His best 2-week stretch in the NFL, so back-to-back games combined, 341 yards from scrimmage, 3 touchdowns.
Ontario Smith.
Oh,
Yes. The steal of the draft.
damn it!
A man who was once caught and
I should've
arrested
got
for
that.
having a Whizzinator,
Nice job, Dex.
that's
I
right,
should've
a
got that.
prosthetic
Yep.
dinghy
Damn it!
in his carry-on bag.
Oh, I should have got that.
Congratulations to Declan.
Good job, Declan.
Ontario Smith, a legendary Sacramento area high school and college football player, and now his
Got
son
it
is
after the
following
last clue.
in those
I didn't know his
footsteps.
son was playing football. I hope he's
Yeah, I
turned
think his
life
son might be a
around.
defensive player, but
I hope Ontario's turned his life around because he was.
he had
not
some
in a good
major
place last time I
substance
saw him.
substance abuse issues and stuff. So there it is. All right, we should probably let Dex post this because breaking news comes fast and furious. But that's your purple day. By the way, if you guys, if there's any business owners out there, we do have some openings here this spring for advertising partners on Purple Daily. So if you'd like to partner with us, we'd love to help direct audience to your potentially awesome business. If you're interested in a discussion, just send me an email, pmackey, PMACKEY, at scorenorth.com. And we can get you some more information. We can kick it around a little bit. All right, dudes, that's a wrap on this episode of Purple Daily. Daily Vikings Entertainment. Phil, Judd, Declan. We'll either be back later today if we get some Harrison Smith news and or tomorrow for a Feedback Friday. See you.